Hello. Hello,
Good
world.
morning. Hi.
Yeah, hello, internet. Hope you're good. Is it Friday? Yeah, it is Friday. It better be Friday. All right. Hey, folks. Welcome to Coded Live. This is the chat show. I'm your host, Sam. And with me, I have my very good friend and internet sensation, Alyssa Nicoll.
Hi.
Hey, yeah, so morning, afternoon, and good evening, folks, wherever you're joining us from. And this is the chat show. So, Alyssa, our one rule on Fridays is we don't share screens. This is just a conversation, We started this while we were in the middle of the pandemic, but I think I want to keep on doing this because I get to talk to passionate people and learn a little bit more about them. And
I'm imagining like an actual stage, like after the pandemic where you're like, and we're welcoming on, and
yeah. Well, at least we get to kind of explicitly take the time and just hang out with people that we love to work with. And you and me are on the same team, but I don't think I know you all that much. So let's talk about you today. So let's start with the existential question. Like, who are you? Have you figured out your purpose
like my
on
purpose in life?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I feel like I will figure it out. So at least there's that hope. But no, as far as like the bigger, do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely not. No, I love what I do as far as like a day job. I'm a developer advocate for Progress, for Kendo UI, for all things Angular. But as far as like the free time, recently had a 2-year-old. Well, he's now 2. I didn't have a 2-year-old. That would have been painful.
Here, just take a 2-year-old.
It was at this like weird like toddler store. I don't know. I just there's no return policy, so there is that. No, so but yeah, I've been loving being a mom. That's been like fun and also hard, and it's something I've talked about on a podcast before, and they're actually having me on for a part 2 where just talking about just difficulties like mental health issues, that especially geared towards women and pregnancy and things like that. So it definitely like if you're out there and you're a woman, you're watching this, you're like, oh no, should I not? Like, no, definitely best choice of my life. But do wish there'd been some warning labels, I guess, of what to expect. And it's different for everybody. But,
it is difficult.
But
and
I also
we will never understand all that you go through. Oh, and look who's lurking. Chat room is getting filled up. Oh, yeah. Hello, Mr. Freds. Yeah, we were joking about you yesterday on a stream, Freds, that like something is wrong with the internet. Where
did we
like,
get rated by
Fritz?
Fritz? I think Fritz rated us. Maybe not.
Did he? No.
Somebody, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. No, I mean, if Fritz rates you, like you have to have like bells and whistles going because it's 100+ people. But if Fritz is not online, like something is wrong with the internet, like some pipes are not working. Yeah, we didn't rate you yesterday. Yeah, you're always good. But yeah, and like somebody was talking about new parenting, and the classic is like so true. Like your days feel long, but the years are short. Like kids grow up fast, but it's hard. Yeah, as regular Swiss clock, you can set your watches with.
I don't know why, but when he said that, my mind pictured Swiss cheese, and then I was like, "Are you calling your streams holy? What are you saying, Fritz?" I don't know. I went to another place. The internet is a series of tubes, and Fritz is in them all. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
But right, other than babies and development, I also really love gaming. I even had surgery so I could continue gaming, a carpal tunnel surgery on both hands. Yeah. And I'm really into first person shooters like Destiny and Apex, things like that. Nice. And diving usually when I am traveling. I'm an avid diver. The last dive trip we took, we knew we were trying to get pregnant, and you can't do it while you're with the baby in the inside. It doesn't work with the, So we knew, okay, it's going to be a little bit before we get back in the water. So like, as we're ascending from this like beautiful dive, like Zach looks over and I've just got like these tears, like filling up my mask. I was like, goodbye, ocean. Yeah, that's just like random.
Can you get back now? Or I mean, maybe you cannot swim yet.
Yes. Okay. So Sarah, our team lead, one of my good friends, God bless her. She's an incredible woman in tech. Mm-hmm. She's inspired me in so many ways, but one of the biggest ways is her personal life with water and baby, and how she just was like at a young age, like, look, baby, there is water, like, and so like to the point where she took her daughter on dive trips, even when her daughter was too young to dive, and she would like snorkel above them and things like that. So I'm going to take a leaf out of her book and bring him with, because I can't
get them started early.
I can't leave him behind. I don't know. I think the whole time I would just be like, where's my Milks? I call him Mr. Milks, by the way. Mr. Milks.
Yeah. Fred's in the chat room. Your home studio is a shrine. Yeah, we see a lot of you, Fritz, especially if you're standing. But it's all good. It's all.
I mean, maybe too much of you. Did you hit your goal? Did you hit your goal? Does anybody else know about the hot tub goal that I'm talking about? Fritz did this stream for charity, and it was like $9,000. I did. He hit 11K. Yeah, we're gonna see way too much of you.
I don't know, Fritz. I don't know if Fritz is going to get into trouble for some of these things, but I'm just saying, Fritz, like we are. So, Alyssa, you might know this, but we are breaking our COVID shackles next week. So me and Sarah will be at a conference in person in Orlando, and our other nibbler-in-chief, Meryl, who gets us set up for all of the in-person things. I think she got a little too excited that we are getting back into in-person. So she has some sort of a hot tub at our booth, which I'm not sure what she was intending. But Fritz,
wait. Are you doing the hot tub stream with him? Are you bikiniing up, Sam?
No. I didn't say I was. You heard it
here first, folks.
I didn't say I was. Yeah, but
also, every time you say leader-in-chief, I swear you say nibbler-in-chief, and I'm like, who's nibbling? What's nibbling?
I said enabler.
Enabler.
Yeah,
I'm like, nibbler?
Also in the chat room is our good friend Aaron Stanley King. Yeah, good to see you all. So okay, back to you, Alyssa. We are here to learn about you. So where do you live, and what do you love? What do you hate?
Oh, about it. Yeah. I'm currently back in my hometown, Bixby, Oklahoma. Go Spartans. I grew up here since I was a little girl. And when I was in high school, I was like, I got to get out of this place. So I went to college at OU, and then after that to Full Sail in Florida. And then I just kind of like never returned. So it's been about 12 years since I've been in this area, like living, I visit, but family is here. So I love that family's here. Also love that things were just easy. I don't know, when we moved back to be close to the grandparents, everything just kind of clicked into place, and just kind of give a little, we're nomads, me and my husband. We're both developers, and we both mostly have worked remote for our whole careers. And so we've kind of had the freedom to be like, yeah, let's move there. Why not? And so in the last, I think 12 years, we've had 13 moves, I think was the last count. I know. So it's way too many. And I mean, of course, that's including college moves as well, but we don't really sit still very often. But out of all of those moves, this one, what I love about it is just that it kind of all fell into place, and it felt really easy comparatively. So I've got a lot of experience with the moves. But what I hate is that it's small town. There's not like I'm used to, like Orlando. The food, the culture, the events, right? The ocean, the Disney, right? Like you've got so much to offer. And Bixby, you're like, let's go look at the cows. I don't know, like.
But you know what? It might stick a little bit because having not had it, I can tell you, like, family really helps when you have little kids. Yeah. And I don't know what you have done to me here, Alyssa. This nibbler and is going to stick here. Yeah.
I need to make sure that Sarah and Meryl are okay with it, because they are now our two nibblers, and like I don't know, it's a name now. And thank you, Jalabella. Thank you. Yeah. You're sweet. That was a good compliment. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. That reminds me of so I'm doing it. I bit the bullet. we've been talking about it for a really long time. Yeah, Aaron said grandparents are worth it. They are. I mean, so far it's been, because I was worried. I'm going to say something and it's going to shock everybody. I'm an introvert. I know.
Really?
And I really, truly. So I don't know if you know like the psychological definition of introvert and extrovert, but it's where you get your energy from. And Tara Manixic, perfect example of a true extrovert. I would see that girl, we'd be out like at conferences doing our thing, and I would see her get tired, and she would go out with a group of people and come back rejuvenated. And she'd be like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, what? And I have to go to the hotel room and then like literally in silence and just kind of sit in my cocoon and be like, here we go. Like, because I'm an introvert. That's not how I refuel my energy. It doesn't mean that I can't go on stage or be right. And so for me, I was super worried about moving back with family because I was like, they're going to be everywhere.
Well, they can be a bit much, but yeah.
It hasn't been that way at all. Yeah. They've been really helpful with the kid, and I don't know, it's been stress-free. So you're right, Aaron. It's been awesome. You're going to sing Journey songs? Oh, back to that comment. So I finally bit the bullet, and I'm starting a show called JavaScript Girl in a .NET World. It's going to be on Tuesdays in the afternoon for me, 1 p.m. Central. So I'm really excited about that.
I do want to ask you some things about your show and how you are in this mode. But I am surprised that you call yourself an introvert, because like when you are here, like all of us like feel so bad, like we cannot get anywhere close to your energy levels. Like you are just a rock star of the internet. Anytime you're on the shows, like okay, might as well just like call it quits. Alyssa's here. But, yeah, thanks for.
I think honestly, what people aren't seeing is the I don't think people are seeing the negative side to ADHD. There's so many positives, like endless energy. Sometimes it even feels like mania because I have so much energy, and it's just like this high. Yeah. That won't turn off. Like, but no, I think it's a blessing and a curse. And we both are watching my son very closely because I come from a long line of women who have extreme ADHD as adults. So me and my husband are watching my son. We're like, do you have it? Are you hyperactive? What's going on here? So no signs yet. I think he's taken after his dad. So do you see? Real quick, you have kids. What ages?
Just one, and one is more than enough. Just one, and now just one, 5.5, and just keeps us very busy.
5.5
in a good way.
You're like right ahead of me. You can give me all the tips.
And all the failures.
You're like, don't do this. Don't feed them that. Like, okay, question. Can you give them coffee? He really wants my coffee. I'm just asking because he looks at it and he's like, mine?
It's not going to hurt. Like maybe 2, maybe it's a little early, but like my wife gives him like cold, like chilled, iced thingies, and it doesn't hurt, like a sip or two here and there. But yeah, it's not a good idea to just.
Kids and coffee, not a good idea. Okay, Fritz, are you talking from experience? I need to know if this is a story we should delve into next time we're hanging out.
I was telling somebody that, like once you're past 40, and I hit the milestone, and if you're still like lifting, you have to really know what you're doing, because otherwise you hurt yourself. And this person asked, okay, how do you know? I was like, yeah, you can ask me how I know, because I have hurt myself so badly, so much. But yeah.
Cloud, if you give them coffee, please expect to give them all your coffee as time goes on. That's kind of been the way with things, he's like, my snack, and I'm like, all right, I guess this is your snack, so now it's always his snack. But I don't hate it. I'm like, I want you to have food, you have my food. I don't know, it's
sure. Look who else is looking.
Hey, Salt. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Aaron said that we did sips by the time they're 13. Mine had coffee habits. Yeah. It's really hard though, because I was like self-medicating around 12, 13 with coffee for ADHD. I didn't realize it until like college years that's what I was doing. But everyone went along with it. Like I'm like 13 years old rolling off the school bus with my tumbler full of black coffee. Nobody says anything, right? Like, I don't know. It's Bixby.
It's Bixby.
It's Bixby.
Okay, so you grew up small town,
Yes.
but then tell us, like, walk us through your journey a little bit. Like, we see what you do, we love what you do, but how did you get here? Because I think you have a very kind of a different type of background.
I do. So when leaving high school, as any good high schooler, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I just know I wanted to do. And so I went to OU, and I decided to enroll in business college because I don't know. I was like, I'll be a businesswoman. Why not? And literally I noped out of that thing so fast. It was like week 1, I think. And I was like, you want me to wear what to school? You want me to wear formal wear? I was like, and you
really?
It was so like very like, I was like, oh God. And then it wasn't just like the outfits. It was the mindset. It felt very, I don't know how to be nice because there might be business people in the chat. It felt very sharky. Like they were like, I did a quick pivot and was like, hi, psychology, what are you about? And so I got my BA in psychology. And at the end of my degree, I was working in the labs, helping like master and doctorate students run their studies. And it was like the clinical side. And so I was really loving that. And my mind was like, okay, I'm probably just going to keep going up this chain of degrees. And it was around that time that my boyfriend, now husband, he was going to Full Sail University for web dev and design. And so he started showing me HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And I just really fell in love with it. Like I remember sitting there on the computer, like trying to put together these elements and style them. And I was like, I could build anything, like having that moment. Yeah. And so when I graduated, and we actually got married, if there's any long distance relationships out there in the chat or watching this, you can do it. I know everyone's going to root against you and everyone's going to say it's impossible. We dated 3.5 years long distance. And I mean, across the country, couldn't see each other. And then 6 months we were married long distance. And I just say, you do you. And if that's what you need to do because we were both getting, I hate long distance relationships. Oh, I have long distance with pizza. Like, it's like across the room or like...
Home Depot's latest announcement, which is like a or home improvement type store, it's a Bluetooth sprinkler system. So just water just gets to it magically. It's Bluetooth. It's long distance. Yeah.
But we were both in different colleges, and we both didn't want to stop our degrees. We'd met in high school math class and we were best friends and started dating in college. And we were like, you want to keep dating? Yes. Do you want to stop school? No. So we just did the long distance thing. And honestly, I think that's when my gaming really ramped up, because you just like put on a headset and game with your boyfriend across the country all night. Like it was fine. So we still, I guess we bonded over technology and gaming, and he taught me everything. And I was like, once I graduated, I was like, okay, I could go into psychology, keep going down that road. I was like, or I could totally pivot, throw the last 4 years away and go get another degree. And I remember we're sitting in this little like 1-bedroom cabin in Colorado, because that was where he got his first job. And he got his first job in Boulder, and the only place we could afford was like up in the mountains, 40 minutes away, like in the middle of nowhere. And the storms out there were crazy. The storms were crazy. And we'd only been there like 6 months. And I was like, should I go back to school? And he was like, let's do it. And I was like, but we'd have to move back to Florida. You just left there. And he's like, let's do it. So that's really been like our marriage and our relationship in a nutshell, was him looking at me and being like, let's do it. So we went back to Florida, and I got this degree. And from there, that's where I found my love of speaking, actually. Have you heard of bar camp? Apparently it's a thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a thing outside of Orlando. I thought it was like somebody in Orlando made it up, but it's like FUBAR. Anytime I wear my bar camp shirts, people are like, oh, are you a bartender? And I'm like, not that kind of bar. But bar camp, for those of you who don't know, is this kind of like informal meetup conference type event where you have all these like whiteboards and all these developers and designers and whoever else meets up early in the morning, and you walk up there with a marker and you write your name in if you want to do a talk. And I guess it was just a coincidence, but this particular bar camp had rented out bars in the downtown area. And so you just went to whatever bar, you took pictures of the whiteboards, and then throughout the day you went to whatever talk you wanted to go see. And so that I chose to sign up and talk. And that was my first talk that I ever gave. And I was like a couple weeks out from graduating. And I didn't know when I was on stage giving the talk that was my interview, because a guy named Greg Pollock walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, do you have a job yet?" And I was like, "I don't have a job yet." And it was really sad because I was the only one in my class who had not been hired yet. And we weren't graduated yet, but everyone else had job lined up. And I was like, I got to get on it. So he said, swing by the office Monday. And I was like, okay, cool. And so when I came by the office, I expected it to be an interview. And he just started introducing me as like the new like content developer. And I was like, what? So that was really fun. I got to create content at Code School for a couple of years, and let's like work on my development skills. But also I got introduced to the Angular team at the time because I was making an Angular course. And at the time it was Angular JS. But so that was really my like when I was going to school, I learned the design side of things and was taught about UI and UX and how to actually like build comps and wireframes and do research with the clients. And then I was taught the other side with HTML and JavaScript, and I was even taught Angular at school. And so I was kind of given this full suite of education, but it's so funny because advocacy was not even mentioned or even talked about as like an option. Like I don't even know if it existed. I'm not really sure when the role of a developer advocate bloomed into existence. But from being like a teacher at Code School and a content creator there, and then I went into dev work right after that, and worked mainly like it was an Angular shop, but mainly I worked on the UI and creating custom components with just literally CSS. And then Tara Minixick was like, "Hey, you should think about being a dev advocate." And she was on our team at the time. And I was like, really? What is a dev advocate? So that's kind of how I stumbled over to this particular zone of development. And I'm really glad I did, because it's really the best of both worlds. I was having a really hard time at the startup that I was working at, because I loved getting to go out and talk to clients and then like build out what they needed. Like that was it, right? That was the creation part. But then I had this other side of me that was like, I have to go share this. I have to go speak about it. I have to go teach what I'm learning on the job. And my boss at the time, I'm not sure if he's even still there, and I won't mention the company's name, but he said, he was like, hey, we had an unlimited time off policy, as I've always had. And I actually kind of look at that as like a very big downside, because 2 out of the 3 places that had unlimited time off, they treated that as kind of, you really shouldn't be taking time off. It was just like a weird, I don't know. So I'm not really sure if they're just doing it wrong or if that's not a thing, but he was like, hey, you're taking too much time off for conferences. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I've got one more coming up that I have my name on, and it's on the weekend. I was like, so I'll just drive out to it. And he was like, no, I don't want to see your name on any more conferences. Oh, wow. And I was like, even if it's during like my time, like during the nights or during weekends. And he was like, you really should be working then. Wow. And I was like, yeah, so I was struggling at the time because I wanted this balance of like, I want to be a developer, but I still need to teach and share and do. And so Salt said, forget that. Yeah. So
this is the perfect thing.
So this journey has been really, really interesting and eye-opening to like just the different aspects of development. So
that's quite a story. And just going back in chat room, like having a supportive partner is really wonderful. Alchemist 1206 is saying married for 29 years.
Oh, that's awesome. For 29 years. Congrats.
And Chris, like 25 years. Like, I mean, you and Alyssa are just like, you do things with CSS that I cannot do with code. So that's up
I
to
know,
you.
but then I struggle because like there's like these ranges. I'm with you, Salt, on that one, because I love Angular and I can do a lot of things, but like when it gets into the more advanced stuff, or even like Ed was like, like just yesterday on stream, he's like, what's that called in JavaScript? And he's like, oh, I know, a closure. And I'm like, I've never used a closure in my life, man. Like I have no idea what you're talking about, whether you're talking about JavaScript, C#, .NET-y things. I don't know who's closing what, like, and so I obviously know that it's like a group of functions, you know, in JavaScript, but I've never used it before. And so I still struggle with that, where I lean towards the UI side and the front of the front end. But I have this little envy bone that I look at people like Ed and he'll just throw together, or TJ, like I've worked side by side with both of them and seen them like just throw together these little, like, you guys would laugh. It's like
those two are amazing. Yeah.
The other day threw in this, he was like, we've got to make this work. We're working on this like video game in VR. And he's like, how do we make this work with the technology we've been given? And I was like, I don't know if we can without a loop. And he was like, oh, we just can use a couple ifs. And I was like, ifs? I was like, oh my God, we never thought of that. Like, it was so basic. So I think I get jealous of some developers sometimes because they're just their ability to put together logic. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Vanschlighot, if I'm saying it right. Hello. Okay, so you're here. That's quite a story, actually. But given what you do, what do you like about developer advocacy, and where do you think are some of your challenges?
So what I like is that it's very, as I mentioned with my story, it was the best of both worlds. And I didn't know that that was even a job option, like where I get to write code, I get to work like with a team that's like making this awesome component library. And so even to the point where it's like, if I want to go have more client meetings, I can. If I want to be involved more with like the features we're building out, I can, but also back up and I can go to conferences and teach people how to do things, not only with our components, but just in general. And so I love that part where I get to do the best of both.
It is a bit of a privilege, though. I mean, we got to accept that, but it's just wonderful, like the flexibility to do whatever you're passionate about. Yeah.
And I think the hard part is, I think, so you are, and I think a lot of people have this, no matter like what their role is, depending on their team type, but you are really your own project manager. Mm-hmm. And so you're the one at the end of the day that decides, yeah, I'm going to have time to make ABC happen or not. And then actually executing those, and how good you pull them off is how much time you put into it. And so I have this like page yesterday that I was working on that I wrote juggling on, because I get this like anxious feeling when I know I've said yes to too many things, you know, that feeling where you're like, and it's not right now, it's going to hit me in about like a month and a half where I'm like, oh, and there's everything I said I would do. Right. And so just having, because it comes in such waves, like having the ability to be like that foresight of, oh, it's coming and I better prep. So I think that being my own project manager is hard. And then, having the willpower to stay up on tech can sometimes be hard too. I'm definitely feeling the burnout lately.
It's always, it's nonstop. Yeah, it's all about balancing and self-motivation and also self-preservation. Otherwise you get yourself in trouble.
It's really hard though to say no and turn down projects inside or outside of the company. Because there's a lot of like programs that I work with that aren't necessarily like for my job. And so it's really hard to like turn down and say no to something when you know you're effectively killing it by not, by not leading it, by not taking that charge. But you're right, at the end of the day with like self-preservation, you have to call out the things that maybe you do care about, but you just don't have time for, so that the things that really matter get the attention. So that's the hard part.
Okay, so you mentioned JavaScript Girl in a .NET World. You're starting up that show. You said Tuesdays is what you're thinking of going?
Yeah, Tuesdays, like 1 p.m. Central. So.
Okay, so I want to ask you this. How do you do what you do? Because you have like an unlimited amount of energy and you're always learning. Like you lurk on .NET streams without... Yeah, you just like show up. How do you get the energy and how do you just keep on learning all the time?
So I honestly, I got really tired of the framework war, number one. I put my stake in the ground, right? Angular is for me, it's my love, it's my passion, it's my community. And people are still like back and forth and and I was just like, okay, I get it. But also being around you, being around Ed, I was like, what are they working on? And it took like a year of you guys like constantly mentioning these other technologies that I was like, okay, seriously, what are you working on? Because there's so many times that you'll say things and it's like, just like, I'm like, what is he talking about? Like the entire sentence that you will speak is all gibberish to me. I'm like, I know those words.
But here's the thing, like you could say things in Angular that would be completely gibberish to me, but I know like that's just a whole like beast by itself. I don't have any desire or the time or the eagerness to go learn like the way you want to come in and learn .NET, and that's amazing.
So you I don't know, you had mentioned something about When UI, and everyone has warned me off of it. I know. They're like, don't do it. Do not go and do Windows desktop development, Alyssa. You don't know anything about the .NET space. You don't know the difference between C# and C. Do not go and try to do .NET with like desktop development. And I'm like, so can I have a PC, Sarah, so I can do desktop development? And she's like, yeah, I'll get you a PC tomorrow. And I'm like, thank you. So I know it's probably going to go very poorly. I was literally ranting the other day because I was trying, like, I love the discovery of it. I was Googling how to like, don't hate me, turn my, what was it? Turn my Alt key into my Control key. I wanted to swap them. And so I'm like, and the Googles was like, oh yeah, you just write a .reg file and it has these regex looking codes and then it swaps them. And I was like, perfect. And so I'm going and I'm doing this and I'm trying to learn command prompt and my husband's like, why don't you just open that in VS Code? And I'm like, oh, because I'm over here like, this machine doesn't have Vim. How am I supposed to work? And so it's been so fun. I love the unknown of it. And I even just like, I don't know, you were laughing at me the other day because you like showed us how to do something and it was so basic, but I get so excited because it's that you made that happen, like you wrote that thing and then it like happened in the UI or in the back end. Like, so I don't know. I want to have that discovery again. And I want to know what your side of the world feels like.
No, and kudos to you because like most of us cannot do that. Most of us cannot. It's just hard to kind of cross those bridges. Like especially like you have kind of grown up and just been a Mac person all through. For you to just come over and do Windows stuff. Like I go both ways a little bit nowadays, but it's hard. Like these are very different ecosystems and. So
your Mac, it always confuses me when I talk to you and Ed because you're a Mac user too.
I am. I'm almost hardcore Mac.
But I
do a lot of Windows.
Well, okay, not even that. So it's like I've got Ed and I've got Sam, right? And from my perspective, like JavaScript is normal and safe. And then you've got Ed, who's a little bit step from that, doing Blazor, which is supposedly close to JavaScript. And then you've got Sam, who's even further out, and he's doing like desktop foreign voodoo ninja stuff. And I'm like, okay. But the guy who's the most farthest from my safety net uses Mac, and this guy uses PC. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with you people? So I don't understand how you do what you do on a Mac. Like my husband was like, you can't do desktop Windows development on a Mac. And I'm like,
you can. It takes a few fans. It takes a little bit of like cooling down, but you can. Yeah. You can. And maybe that's the beauty of like modern dev, right? Where like what you're using doesn't matter as much, right? It's Windows or Mac, VS Code, or whatever you want to pick your tools.
Funny. Well, how long? Yeah. So you've always done Windows stuff, or did you ever do web stuff?
Both. I've done both.
You've done both. Okay, because I'm like, both, how did you get onto the Mac train? Because Ed swears by PC.
I know. Ed is that way. This is more about you, but I mean, since you asked, like, I actually started out. I'm old, if you cannot tell, but I actually started out doing Kendo UI training for enterprises. So that was all JavaScript back in the days. It was just jQuery. Life was so simple. It was just jQuery all over. But I've done my little share of web. And again, like a lot of .NET devs do pure web, and nothing wrong with that, right? And like what Aaron is saying, like there are so many technologies nowadays, like with Hot Reload and like Blazor and Angular, everything being welcome on the desktop. I think the bridges are just like so much better now. You really can mix and match and like choose your tech stack. No, we can't learn JS. I can't.
I think you and I need to have just a JavaScript pure vanilla competition only, and you would be so surprised at how much you know more than me, because I'd be like, oh, that's an Angular thing. Oops, that's a jQuery thing. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, it would be bad. It would be bad.
Okay, so of all the things you work with and you see around, tell me a technology that you really feel excited about. Like, what excites you nowadays?
Like, oh god, the latest CSS spec where they're, oh my god, they are finally giving us parent selectors. Anybody in the chat? I mean, like, it's still in spec form, so it's going to take us a while, but it's essentially the ability to identify nesting. Tell me about this nesting. Because like, there's so many times that I do something hacky with a selector in order to say, like, if this child is in this state, the parent needs to do this. But you can't go reverse in your selectors until now. Now you should be able CSS nesting like in Sass. Oh my god, wait, what? They're bringing that to CSS? They're literally going to kill Sass. I guess CSS variables have a way to go, though. But I cannot believe they're bringing nesting to CSS. That is a game changer. Wow.
I have no clue. I'm not caught up at all. So
some of the latest nerdy things that are coming out in CSS get me excited. And then I'm really, really excited about...
Don't say Win UI.
I was going to say Win UI. I'm so excited. I want to learn how to make a desktop app, and I want you to help me. I want us to get together and make like a button appear on a Windows desktop app and have it do something. Oh, that'd be cool. Maybe that's too much. Maybe just the button. But
Chris will see you around, but I'm happy to help. But we're just not as excited about desktop as you are. Maybe.
Dude, if we could get like a button and it does things, it'd just be fun. It'd be fun. It'll be a good stream. So
we can do some stuff together. Okay, looking around at your desk right now, what is your most favorite tech gadget, or maybe around your house? Like, what do you swear by?
Oh, it's a tech gadget. Tech gadget. Can you define tech gadget?
No, anything. Like, it could be something you do for the yard. Like, what is your favorite toy?
My bike, Firefly. My bike.
Okay.
I just bought a new, and it's a street bike, and it's called Firefly, and it's black, and it has blue accents and like tealy accents, and she flies. When I ride her, I'm like soaring through the skies. I go out on group rides Tuesdays and Thursdays. We usually do about like 20-25 miles, and it's just amazing. Although it's usually like literally like everyone's at least 20 years older than me and about 20 miles faster than me an hour. Like, they're all much better.
But faster. That doesn't go together sometimes.
Tech gadget wise, I guess, okay, like if you're talking like your house is on fire and you're grabbing it before you leave, like that kind of situation, or not that desperate.
Sure. Maybe not that desperate, but something that you really enjoy. Like, I mean, bike is good. Like that's your passion. Then
good. Yes, that I also think, I don't know. I guess we got new standing desks, and I'm trying to think of the brand. I don't know what brand they are, but they've really. It's so silly. I had for years the crank standing desks, and I would stand like never. I don't know why the difference between like this one's automatic, so you can save the presets, but I'm now standing like over 50% of the time. So really? I think just, I love the ability. I think it was that in the combination with this mat that I'm standing on. Cause you think, oh, like a mat, but like
No, mat makes a big difference.
It does. It makes such a huge difference. So I think if you're wanting to be a little bit healthier during the day and you're like at the desk like we are, I think maybe saving up for a standing desk that does it by itself, because I had the manual crank, and I never used it. So yeah.
Aaron, are you talking about nesting or the parenting thing that?
So one messed up bracket and the whole thing's break. Nesting seems too much, but I'll probably get used to it. So the cool thing about, and I'm assuming with CSS, it's not going to be like Sass, like totally with nesting, because with Sass, you can just forget about brackets entirely. And my husband loves that. And I hate that. Like, I want my brackets. There was like a version of JavaScript that you got rid of the brackets. I don't remember what it was. And I hated it because I use those brackets. Like, my brain like identifies like chunks of things with those brackets. So for me, when I use Sass, what I'm actually using is SCSS. And so it's like identical. It's going to be identical to the spec where all the brackets are still there. Nesting is still there. I think with what you're saying, yes, one broken thing. Honestly, if it gets past 2, where you've got like your parent selector and then you've got any children inside of that, I don't nest further than that. I'll change my selectors around or do what I have to do. And I don't know, it still makes a big difference for me to be able to have those grouping chunks. It's almost like a way of like closing off the styles, right? Like, you're encapsulating them to that parent, to that component, to whatever that thing is. So yeah. I don't know. I'm excited about it. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, modern editors might help a little bit with intelligence and closing things off, right? So yeah, we shall see. Oh, Surly Dev is here. Hey. The crank desk are a pain. Yeah.
You turn them on so many times, the desk it's no wonder people never change them. I know. Well, that, and it's like, okay, so most of the times, like, I'm on a stream, I'm in a meeting, I'm mentoring somebody, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Can you imagine me being like, all right, hang on, like it's a pain. A colleague had a manual crank adjustable desk, and it took him nearly 3 to 4 minutes to get it up or down, whatever. Yeah, no, it was like that, and it's super.
Come to look, this company doesn't exist anymore, but I have a thing called like the Very Desk, which used to be like a big thing a few years back.
I've heard of that.
It's as big anymore. It works. It doesn't have any, like, mine is super basic. It doesn't have any presets or anything like that, but it's just like one set of like kind of clippers on the side. You pull that up and it's up, and then it's down. This has got like 2 different levels, and that's it. So
okay. Yeah. So it doesn't exist anymore, the company, though, you said?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they changed their names, because I went looking one time and I didn't quite find them as they were before, but they used to be quite popular. And it's not like as manual as the crank, but it's just like, it's easier. It's like a nicer spring-loaded system, so it's a little easier.
So I think even if I still had that old crank desk, if I had ordered this and like, because I always saw the mats and I thought they were so dumb, but this is my mat, and it looks odd, but like it like allows me to like move around. Yeah. So I'm not just like standing like a soldier, like still. And it gives you these different things to like do with your feet. And because of that, it's more inviting to leave my desk standing, like to just leave it up in the air and then to walk away and come back. And like, so I don't know, even if you have a crank desk or just a stationary standing desk, I'd highly recommend the mat. It was a game changer for my standing health. Although, what's enraging? Absolutely enraging. I don't know how many Apple Watch fans we have out there, but I'll be like standing all day long, and I'll be like, and my watch will go, and I look, and it's like, you haven't stood up all day, and I'll be like, It's one of those enraged moments, because I want it to count. Like, I want the credit for my
Yeah. Or the flip side is like when you get woken up in the middle of the night, to use the bathroom or whatever, Apple Watch is like, yeah, you met your standing goal for this hour. I'm like, no, that's not quite what I was wanting to do. Anyway.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Surly Dev, you're working off your dining room table. Hey, okay. We have all had to adjust.
And if I want to stand to put my laptop on a portable monitor. Yeah, so I know, like, it sounds silly, but I've done that. which had this kind of like temporary standing space, and I would take my laptop over to that part of the like my house if I wanted to stand, because sometimes it gets a bit monotonous. But yeah.
Okay, so you're busy with working and teaching and speaking and writing all day long, but what do you do outside of work? What keeps you engaged and happy?
Oh my goodness. So we have I think my family has this like running joke of like, look at the park. Like, where's Alyssa? Look at the park. So we've got a really, really incredible park here called the Gathering Place. You should definitely Google it if you have never heard of it. But it is like...
Is that where like all of Bixby gathers?
It's where like all of Tulsa gathers, like all the surrounding cities like come, and it's like think of like a theme park, but like for park items only. So like there's a sensory garden, and it's like Alice in Wonderland with like all the ivy, or there's like sky high towers with like bridge ropes and stuff for like the older kids. My son loves Volcanoville. It's like turf and like rolling hills and like wooden ramps and things, and so it's like for younger kids to kind of practice like climbing and walking and running. And so I love, like, that's my thing. It's like, if I ever finish work early, or if it's like a Saturday, it's like, hey, you want to go to the park? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, do you want a snack? And he's like, yeah. So it's like me and him, snacks at the park.
Oh, nice. It's a good age. And then, and once they're off, and like they don't stop. You give kids the snack, and then they're off playing. Yeah.
You're just here as the snack provider. Autonomous makes the legs and switch kit you can add to your own top. The motors are crazy good. Laid on the top and it lifted me.
That's a test. Can you lift me up?
I'm imagining like the reason you would need, like, I get like, oh yeah, maybe you've got like a billion computers on your desk, but like, I don't know, some of these desks can carry a lot of weight.
They can, but here's the thing, that I have a 38-inch ultra wide. It takes a lot of pixels, a lot of energy to drive that thing. It is heavy. Like, really? And then I have a few lights and other stuff, so I would really like my desk to be able to do that all day.
Are the ultra wides the
curved ones?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, it kind of wraps a little bit around, and I had always wanted to have that kind of, the Matrix-y look where it'll be like almost all around me. I just never got around it. So because one is big enough.
But like, don't you have to be at a certain angle? That's what I always wondered about those monitors. Like if you're like over here, does it mess with the view or the shading?
For the most part, like you want it to be like, you want it to be in the center of it and facing it straight. But like, if you look a little bit to the left or right, it's not bad. I mean,
it's not bad. Okay. Really, I imagined it was like, and now I can't read anything.
No. It's not like that. Okay. Now, if you get up to like really like the really big, like 50-inch type things, that might get into there. But like 30, 40 inches, yeah, you should be fine. You just kind of a little bit curves around.
I literally am like, I have one monitor, and it's pretty small. And if I could, I'd probably just work off of my laptop solely. But now I have on my desk my Xbox, my laptop, and my PC. So it's easier to like have a USB switcher to like go to between them. So, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah. No, and you're right. Sometimes like we have all had this thing like where you want to show how pro you are as a dev, and you have to have like 3 or 4 screens. But then after a while, maybe it comes with age. Like when I'm just working by myself, or I'm just focusing, it's just one laptop, one screen. That's all I need, really. And then like if I need to go check on something else, like that's the screen. I will stop what I'm doing and I will go check on something else.
So many developers are like, you have one screen, and I'm like, but I use someone was making fun of me. It might have been one of you guys who were in chat, because I was showing off like how, with Mac, you can have different desktops and you can just swipe between them. And they were like, it's the poor man's multiple monitors. And I was like, hey, but I think it was because I with traveling before now, obviously, I just got so used to like literally being mobile with a laptop and like working here, working there. And so then when I'm back at my desk, it felt ridiculous. I was like, what am I going to do with all these screens?
Right. Okay. What about food? Are you a foodie?
I am a foodie, unless you ask Ed, who's apparently snobby.
He's very
We got
snobby.
into it yesterday. I don't know if you heard, but I may have said
not.
some things about how Taco Bell has their new naked chicken chalupa, and he said, you must not even be able to cook because you like Taco Bell. And I was like, them's fighting words, Ed.
don't get Ed started on coffee either. He is quite a snob. But anyways,
but he's not a food snob. But no, it was hilarious. Yeah. Did we talk? We did talk about White Castle. He apparently. So are you a White Castle fan? I haven't had the pleasure, but that was the audience's argument to Ed was, yeah, but you like White Castle, so you can't like really talk about her liking Taco Bell.
I lived in Ohio for a while, so it's a thing, and it's not bad. Just don't overdo it. It is very greasy, and it's not the best quality of sliders, if I may say. But again, I might get some hate mail. It's fine once in a while, but that seems sacred ground. It's like they give you all of your burgers in a brown bag or a white bag, and there should be like grease dripping out of it. That's how you know it's good.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm okay. I'm okay with, a person having an affinity for greasy burgers. You go and get your burgers, you eat your burgers, you're done.
Yeah,
Ed has not one, but two ice chest cooler type things to keep his mega family pack of burgers warm. So this is a guy who gets the burgers so often that one needs to keep the burgers warm during the drive home. I don't that's where it crosses. I don't have a Taco Bell backpack, right? Like I'm going to get my chicken chalupa and I'm out of there. So I don't
know. Do you cook?
I do. I love, so I have this app. Have you heard of Tasty?
Tasty.
If you have not heard of Tasty and you like cooking, my husband thinks I'm an absolute nut because I'll just sit there because we've talked about before how social media generally just stresses me out and it's hard for me to take part. And my mother-in-law constantly, and instead of the mother-in-law who's like, please have children or please do this or please do that, she's like, please use social media. And I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. She's like, if you would just post on Facebook. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So instead of being like at night winding down on social media, I am on Tasty and it's just this app with recipes. I'm scrolling through the recipes and it's not just recipes, but it's recipe videos. So they're like 60-second videos for the whole thing. And so it's like this step. Yeah. And I'm just addicted to videos or TikTok. I'm on food TikTok. So I love trying new recipes. And right now we're all dieting in the family. So I'm looking for like any low-cal solutions but usually I'll just try anything. It kind of freaks my parents out though. They're very they have their 5 meals and that's their 5 meals. So they come over and they're like, what are we eating? And I'm like, it's new. But what about you, Sam? Do you scroll through the recipes? Are you a foodie?
Yeah, I am a big foodie, but I know I'm not as much into recipes. But I do my share of doom scrolling on social media. To kind of wind down.
Is it called doom? Is that a thing?
It is called doom scrolling. But no, I cook a lot, and Ed cooks a lot as well. We both enjoy cooking.
Oh yeah, he sends pics. I love it.
Yeah. All right, so this might be a trick question. If you had, or maybe not, maybe you already have your ducks lined up. If you had $1 million right now, what would you do?
So is it like you have to spend the $1 million in one day, or is it like you have the option to do the responsible thing with the $1 million?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want and spend it however long you want.
Oh God. Okay. So for real, if $1 million just landed in my lap, it would be like pay off my college debts, pay off my sister's college debts, and like make sure everybody in the family was square, and then the rest would go into savings. Like it would be super boring and like
that's very responsible.
But if it was like you have to spend it in the next 24 hours. Yeah. I would book like me, my friends, my family, anybody I knew on like a 2-week live aboard dive trip, like all expense paid, but like across the world, like, Fiji, somewhere exotic. and just like live on a boat with all of my closest family and friends for a couple weeks diving. That would be,
good.
I would just make that happen.
What's your favorite diving spot? Like where in general is your favorite diving spot?
The Exumas. So it's south of the Bahamas. I haven't been to as many cool places as my husband. So like I haven't been across like over to like the Fiji side of the world. But as far as like on our side, it's close, so it's not crazy flights or anything. And then like the charters and then the dive boats over there that they offer, it's just the water and the life. It's beautiful and unbeatable. And I just, anytime like you're in like a really stressful situation and you have to like go to your happy place, you know, like in your head mentally, it's just like all of a sudden I'm like on this. Sometimes we would take out the dinghies to like these little islands that like weren't uninhabited. And it's just like the ocean all around you for nothing for as far as you can see. And so my happy place mentally is to just, I'm alone on that island sitting there as like the waves wash around me. So I don't know. The ocean is my happy place. I am landlocked right now, but I'm going to find my way back to it. So
well said. And you never waste money on travel. It opens your mind. It refreshes you. Absolutely. Aaron is saying
White Castle's easier to defend than Skyline Chili.
Okay, so
I grew up in there. Skyline's just okay. I haven't heard of that. Is it actually? Is the restaurant called Skyline Chili?
Yeah, this is a Cincinnati-based thing. I think it started in Cincinnati, and it's a very, very big thing in Ohio. Great chilies, but just some quality issues are borderline. Best not talked about. But yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Whatever floats your boat. And and certainly, Dave. Yeah, that's a good
if you want to lose weight. Don't fear the fat.
We were having this conversation. Like sugar is like, this is one of the worst things our modern societies have. Like our addiction, and just it's just everywhere. It's everywhere, and you don't realize like foods that you're giving to your kids, like a little tub of yogurt. How can it have 30 grams of sugar? Yeah. But that's
I know. That's what we have. My mom, she was like, and I'm like super, super like anal about this, and it makes me seem like a really like high-strung mom. But I like read the ingredient labels, and we buy things that don't have sugar added. And so when he goes over to the grandparents, and she's like, "Well, there's nothing wrong with a PB&J," and I'm like, "What is your peanut butter? Because I'm sure it's not like our peanut butter." Like, so no, you're right. It's in everything. Yeah.
Ah, very cool. So, Alyssa, I think we were shooting for half an hour, but look at where we are.
Sorry, I didn't know. I kept blathering.
No, that's all good. This is what we are here. Food labeling, anything ending in sugar.
Sugar, yes.
Absolutely right. All right, so Alyssa, leave us with some of your inspirations, like looking ahead at maybe like the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. What are you looking forward in life?
So every day, I know this is gonna be super boring for you non-parents out there, and I apologize, but once you have a little one, nothing else matters. Everything, all the other like stressors and cares and career goals, and it just kind of dims, and you have this one holy grail, this one light that is just so beautiful and so awesome and just so amazing to watch grow. And so I'm looking forward to every day is something new and exciting. And so that's what I'm most looking forward to. As far as like as far as like dev and the tech industry, I'm excited I found a new love of workshops. I know they've existed. I've never tried doing them. And so I've done 2 now, and it's everything I've ever wanted from speaking on stage that I've never gotten. It's like longer format, and I can teach and have that interaction. So I'm starting the workshop tour. And so as things start opening back up, instead of signing up for talks, I'm actually going to sign up for workshops. And so, those are
workshops can be a lot of fun if done right. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put it together. But if done right, they can be a lot of fun. Yeah, and Dev, you're on point. Yeah, sometimes the low fat, the low sugar ones are not always the best things for you. Yeah, there's a lot of balancing. You have to do what is right and like for your goals and what exactly you're trying to avoid or get into.
That's like everything though in life, right? Like not just like food and cooking for yourself or for your family. It's like everything. There's like a balance of like, all right, how much time and energy do I have to spend on researching this and making this thing happen? So be kind to yourself, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot we all juggle, so be kind to yourself. I think Aaron is talking about the workshops. I have seen all-day ones that weren't very well. Multi-day? Yeah.
Oh, so I haven't heard of multi-day because I've seen all-day ones and I've seen like 3-hour ones are the ones that I've signed up for 2 3-hour ones. Both times I ran out of time. So I'm thinking like I could definitely fill an all-day workshop, but I haven't heard. I'm wondering if multi-day is like just the same, just broken up, like morning or something.
Yeah, maybe things take time, and no matter how much you say like you have to come ready with these things, you need to be prepared that everyone will just come in without anything installed. You need to prep the time for.
You're saying always carve out the time for that.
Yeah, like pre-conference days. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm really excited because it's like so far it's been like 40 to 45 people attending, and it's just like smaller, more intimate. Like people aren't afraid to like chat it up and ask questions and share. And that's what I'm always on stage like asking these questions, and of course people aren't going to shout out the answers from the audience, but I always walk away like feeling like I missed some interaction. So I can't believe I have never tried workshops before. That was like a really big like the moment for me. So
interactions are golden because like so often like we will like people tend to just do one talk and just get out of it, while we are all here to learn. It's not just that 1 hour thing and just like imparting what you know, but it's also kind of getting in the weeds and just learning with others. So good for you. Yeah, Aaron is talking about SQL Saturdays, multi-day sometimes. A lot of conferences do pre-conference workshops and post-conference workshops. Sometimes like it depends a little bit on like how much of a time commitment you're asking for, because like some of them will get to be like a whole week-long thing. So for attendees, it might get down to like not choosing like to attend 3 conferences versus like 1 or 2 that they want to do really well. So
right.
Eva's here. Hi. Hello. Nice you. Yeah. Eva is our awesome rock star behind the scenes that takes care of so many things. And she also gets on camera a lot nowadays, which she should do more often because she's amazing. All right, Alyssa, I've kept you for way longer than what we were initially thinking of, but this is so much fun. I think I got to know more about you in this hour than we have in the last like 2-3 years of working together. So thank you for taking the time to come and join.
Thank you for having me on, Sam, and thank you, very kind chat, for hanging out.
Chris and Surly Dev and Aaron and UHF and everybody else who's been chiming in. Thanks for tuning in and just having a nice conversation. So this was fun. It's Friday, and Alyssa, are you doing your show this afternoon, or you're punting
no,
next week?
I am prepping for next week because I think if it doesn't collide with Blazor, because Ed's doing a Blazor week-long thing.
Yes.
So as long as it doesn't collide with Blazor, I'll be on next Tuesday doing some JavaScript girl. So awesome. In a .NET world. That makes it sound like it's JavaScript. It's not JavaScript.
And we are here to help however you need the older folks to help.
I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun to build apps. I can't wait.
We all love to hear Alyssa talking. So much enthusiasm. It's contagious. JS Girl in .NET World is coming every Tuesdays, and to the thing that Alyssa mentioned, next week is going to be big. It's blazing into summer, and Ed has a whole lot of guests lined up. It's going to be every day for I think 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes more. It's going to be all in Blaze of Love. So come and join us whenever your time permits.
Yeah, he's got a really cool lineup of speakers. He was telling me about it. So check out our schedule. It's really cool.
Absolutely. All right, Alchemist, thank you, everyone, and hope you stay well, stay healthy, stay productive, and peace. Peace to you all, and we shall see you on the next stream. Okay? All right, bye for now.